Hello brilliant and precious jewelry community. Today we're going to see how to bake our gemstones. This is the result. We're going to make it the simple but efficient way, almost as always, you might say. Are you ready? Let's go. Hello everyone, welcome to this new video. This video is about baking. It comes from a very good question from one of my followers. He simply asked, can we bake these wonderful gemstones, procedural materials? We're going to make two examples and we're going to find out how well it goes. Okay, so we're going to start from a new file and I'm going to start and go to Append to append my favorite gemstones materials. Here they are. Okay, so we're going to make two examples, one with a ruby, which means that we're going to make a bake using a translucent material, and then we'll do another example using a semi-precious gemstone like the lapis lazuli, which is more opaque, and we'll see how it goes. So I'm going to append the ruby right here. We're going to append also the lapis lazuli. I'm going to center the ruby first. So first we need to prepare to bake. For those who don't know how to bake, this is going to be a very good tutorial also about baking. So let's get started. We're going to work with the ruby first. Okay, so we're going to go to UV editing first. And well, a gemstone like this is not too hard to make a good UV map. With the C selector, select everything from the top view. Beware without using the X-ray transparency mode. So we only select the top vertices. Always double check what you're doing. Okay, so this we're going to make a UV project from view bounds. Then we're going to select everything here, make it a bit smaller, something like this, and move it around here somewhere. Now Control 7 to have the view from below, Alt A to deselect everything, C and select everything here. That's the downside. Have a look at that. Okay, everything is good. Control 7. Let's also make a project from view bounds, AS. Let's move it to the other corner. We still have to make the UV map for the vertices, the faces around the stone. Go to the front view. We're going to select this vertex and go to UV and mark a seam. That makes a red line, which is the seam. Okay. Now Alt Z to turn on the transparency. B selector. And we have this. Now we can go to UV and unwrap. And this is perfect. This goes around the stones. These are all the missing faces from the girdle of the stone, which is the perimeter of the stone. Okay, now Alt A. So we have to take care that nothing is overlapping between each other. Okay, so this is one way of making a clean unwrapping of all the parts of the gemstone. So a UV map like this is going to be very good for baking. The preparation for the baking, we'll check that you're using cycles. That's important. Now we're going to set up the light. So the light, we're going to go top view. We're going to put it somewhere here. We're going to make it way stronger. Use nodes, power maybe 16,000, and the size maybe 3, something like that. Okay, So let's place our lights. Okay. Now let's bring an environment texture. Okay, so let's grab your favorite HDR for your environment light, like this. Okay, so now that the lights are ready, here we're in the shader editor and we have our procedural material. So we don't have any image to bake. You need an image to where to bake. It's the output of the bake. So we need to add a texture image. And we're going to create a new image. New. I'm going to go at 4 times the default resolution. So we're gonna have a nice high resolution bake. Okay. This one is untitled, but we can put any name we want. Bake result video. Here we are. Okay. We don't have to connect this image to anything. Cycles is going to know, because we're going to select this node, it's going to know that it must bake to that image. All right. But now we're not quite yet ready. The background doesn't matter. You can make it transparent, but it's not necessary at all. Now, so when you're in cycles, in render properties, we have a bake tab down here. For us, it's going to be really simple and really efficient to bake this as combined and all the influences turn on, which is the basic setting, is perfect for baking. Now, there is something that you won't really find in the manual, but you must be aware of something. Actually, there is a message about that warning right here, which is the only thing that we need to check, and then we can bake. It says, baking is performed using CUDA instead of optics. Well, okay, it's like just an information, isn't it? So let's go to preferences, go to your system and have a look. I'm using optics, and well, optics is generally faster now, and it's the favorite rendering device to render when you can. But if you run the bake now on optics, it won't work. And believe me, because when making this video, I was obviously running the bake as it is on optics, and the bake comes out totally empty. Well, you might think that there's so many things that can go wrong when baking something that you start checking the lights, the background, the material, because if you try to Google the problem, you're going to find that transparent materials, glossy materials, metallic materials won't bake well. You're going to have problems. It's going to come out all black or things like that. But you will never find that the problem is optics. Even if there's a message, you might think, well, it's switching for yourself to CUDA when baking. Well, it's not. So, obviously go to CUDA. The message is gone. Okay, before we bake, we need to set the camera point of view. So I'm going to check the camera. I'm going to center the camera to make the camera orthographic. And let's find the distance, too far, too close. This is great. My samples are okay. My performance also. So now I need to select my object, which is this gemstone. Select the node for the image. And ready. Let's hit bake. And first thing you're going to see, texture bake in progress right here, 0%, 1%, and time remaining 12 minutes. It's generally slower than you might think. And it's going to use the GPU a lot, which is a good thing. So if you can overclock your GPU, go ahead and do it. An overclocked GPU is generally 10 to 20% faster. So you should overclock your GPU. Now beware that overclocking is a dangerous process because you can fry your GPU. So you've been informed, you've been warned, and baking is in process. So while it's baking, well, you can watch the news, play a video game, draw something, start another Blender project, read, play with your cat, your dog, your bird, without double meaning, you nasty people, boys and girls. We're baking. This is serious business. This is a professional gemstone asset. It's fully procedural. And we're almost at 20% now. 8 minutes to go. And it's okay also to laugh from time to time. Even you should know that the more serious what we're doing, the more we should be laughing about it. We should never take things too seriously anyway. Life is too short. Better pass the time laughing the most that you can. Make others laugh. This is strictly baking. Actually, it's really funny, the name baking, the word, because I do cook. Oh, here we are. So now you should also know that the baking can crash. It won't tell you. So don't believe that you can just go and do whatever you want and come back and that you will be happy. Maybe you won't. When it crashes, you won't see this nice image here. This is the resulting bake, and this is just lovely. Worked very well. We have all the material in this image, so we can see the UV map, how it worked. It's perfectly projected into place. All right, so now beware. Don't move. Stop everything you're doing. Don't move. This image is not saved. It doesn't save automatically. So if you hit the wrong button, move the wrong window, you're going to lose this image. And again, you will be very sad. Believe me, because we've all been there. It will happen to you someday. When you lose the image, you must bake again. And sometimes the baking process can take hours. So be very careful. We need to go to the menu here, image, save. So here's the image. I already had a version saved, so it directly saved, but otherwise it's going to open the directory. Everything should be fine here. Just check the compression. I generally put it to 0 because I want the highest quality. And generally we do want the RGBA because we want a transparent background, and save your image as, and you're done. All right, now great. This is the product from the baking process, this image. We can use it right away here, but we need to disconnect our previous nodes, our previous materials. This is the image from the baking process. So let's add principal shader here. Let's connect to the material output. Now my image. Generally I want to bring the UV map for the image here from the gemstone. So it's going to be a flat image texture. The color goes with color. You can connect the roughness here. Now we can also connect to normal. It's not a normal map because I rendered combined. You could render the normal pass and save as a normal. It's going to look like a normal map. You're gonna get the normal map if you bake only the normal map. But this is a combined bake. So the normal map, let's add a vector bump, and it goes to height and not to normal. And the strength should be pretty low, I guess. So now let's go to the render preview so we can see our wonderful baked ruby gemstone into action. All right, this is the baked version. It looks great. It has all the dents and colors and refractions and reflections from the original, but obviously it's a lot lighter because Cycles doesn't have to calculate all the refraction, reflection, and all of that. And that's why this is one of the benefits of baking your textures. But now also it can be used as a game asset, a game engine in a game, or in another software that uses image textures, and we can bake them using Blender. And the great news is that my gemstones assets can perfectly be baked. And this is the quick way, because you can bake different influences one by one and create different images of the rays depending on what you want. You know, you can separate the diffuse, which is basically the color, from the glossy, which is basically the reflections. Okay, you can separate that into several images, and then, well, you can use softwares to bring these images together. All right, so this first example worked very well, and it's a lot of fun to bake. Look at this. Look at this. It's amazing. Obviously, when we move, we can tweak. Obviously, this is a very simple setup with the nodes for the baked image and the baked material here. Maybe the direction for a normal map at -1 might look a bit better. Actually, it does. Or you can also remove. You don't have to. We could maybe also put a slight bevel node here. Second step here, 12 samples, a very slight one, because obviously the normal map is looking strange, maybe where the reflections and refractions are, you know, making these lines here. And we could turn on transmission again, but then we would go back to the previous problem, which is not calculating refraction and reflections. Okay, now we're going to make the second examples, obviously to go through and to be sure that we understood the baking process. So let's hide the ruby. Let's bring the lapis lazuli. Let's put it at 0, 0. Let's center it. All right, let's move the camera a bit further away, something like this. Let's have the preview of the procedural material. Okay, that's pretty good. Check that. You can see that it's procedural all over the place. Under on the top. Okay. Now we need UV editing. Okay, so we're going to do the UV map for the lapis lazuli. Top view, no transparency, C to select this. Project from view. Okay, a nice oval here, which matches the stone shape, obviously. Let's put it right here. Now side view, Alt A, Alt Z to activate the transparency, because we're going to select the rest. Here top view, project from view, not bounce this time to keep the oval. Let's move it here, A. And now we can have a look here to make this bigger, smaller, adjust to cover. It's better to cover a bigger area, especially when you're going to bake something for an image and to take advantage of the most part of the images. Okay, that's the UV mapping for the lapis lazuli. Now let's go to shading. So down there we have the material. It's totally procedural. So we also need a new image. So image texture, new, let's call it lapis lazuli bake out. So maybe you can lower the resolution of the new image, and also depends. It also depends on the quality you want or the speed you want, and especially for a game asset. If let's say we're doing an 8-bit pixel game, retro gaming style game, we're going to use very low resolutions for the baking process. It's going to be way faster and a way lighter image. Anyway, because it's going to be smaller. So hit OK here. So that's our bake. Our object is selected. Looks good from the camera. Let's turn the preview off and we're ready to bake. Bake. So once again, the texture process, the baking process is taking place. 1%, 2%, and well, yet again, you can sit back and relax, watch your favorite series or movie on YouTube, on Netflix, wherever you want. But beware, the baking process can fail. And also, like I said, it makes a heavy usage of the GPU. So never forget to check the temperature, the operating temperature of your GPU. You know, just to be sure that the baking process won't bake your GPU, because you could bake your GPU. I baked once. Some people know that a couple of years ago, I had a wonderful Zotac 1080 Ti, the top of the line of the 1080, because I bought it very late, and I had one of the best 1080 Ti available, and it burned. Yes. Very sadly, it burned. So I know a thing or two about burning GPUs. I was very lucky in the aftermath because, yes, flames blazed through the computer. But I was very lucky to turn everything off very quickly, and the flames just also stopped very quickly, and only the GPU was affected. The RAM, the CPU, the motherboard, the drives, the SSD, everything was just fine. It's not a very pleasant experience to see your computer burning, believe me. It had just a false flash hit contact right in the middle of the GPU. I saw the flash turning the computer on. I saw the flash, and boom, the flame started. But I had the power plug I was at my office, and well, I don't know, maybe I was always prepared to act, because I was just close to everything, close to the computer, starting to work, so I was fresh and I was seeing things very fast. I saw the flash, I saw the flames, I unplugged the computer, and I saved everything I could, but the GPU was dead, burned. So yes, you can burn your computer. All right. So here we are again with the baking results. So looks lovely, looks good, looks nice. So let's go and save the image. Always remember, when there's a little star next to the image, it means that it was modified but wasn't saved. So always go and save. Now this is a new one, so it opens a directory right away. See the compression, I bring it to 0 here, RGBA, that's right, with the alpha, save as image. All right, now it's saved, and we can proceed. So here we can copy, we can go to the other material. Let's find the nodes. Let's take all of this. Let's do a copy, 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 copy. Let's do Control V right here. And well, we just have to change, let's remove this one. We're going to put the new image. Don't forget to remove, the material output. You can't have two materials output in a node tree. It's, let's say, obvious. You can try, it won't work, because, well, what generally happens is that one takes the advantage over the other one. But anyway, it's not even logical to have to. Okay, let's connect here. Let's connect color to color. This one for the roughness multiplier, and the height here for the bump map. And this is it. This was about baking gemstones, burning GPUs, and playing with your bird. So understand that the way you want to. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Keep posting comments and questions and challenges and all you want on the channel. It's just amazing how the channel is growing. Or invite me to test anything you want me to test, and I will be there. So as always, brilliant and precious jewelry community, thanks for subscribing. Thanks for supporting my channel, buying 3D assets on the Blender market. Be nice to people, be nice to animals, be nice to the planet. Do the best you can every time you can. And see you soon. Take care.